A horse rider can replace 10 men. Folk wisdom. Let's say 60% of my viewers love and value horses. Here's a question. What purebred horses do you know? Let me remind you that today there are more than 250 horse breeds in the world. Yes, I guess so. First of all, you will name the English breed of horses, the Arabian and the Turkmen horse breed Arqıl. I had no doubts that I would have such answers. Dear viewers, what will you think if I tell you you were wrong? There are only 2 thoroughbreds in the world, the Kazakh Karabaiyr horse and the Mongolian breed of a small horse. Do you agree with me? In the next 30 minutes, I will explain why this is true and prove my point of view.
But here comes Secretariat. He's moving fast, and he's going to the outside. He's going for the lead, and it's right now he's looking for it. Ronnie Turcotte sends him alongside Hippolyta.
Let's start with the English, Turkmen, and Russian breeds of horse that you consider to be thoroughbred. The first breed is the English purebred horse. These horses are known for their big heart, excellent body constitution, and of course, speed of reaction. So how pure is it? When did this breed appear? In the 17th century, the British Royal Stud Farm set to collect and breed strong and fast mares. During the selection, they were crossed with stallions brought from abroad. To be precise, all English thoroughbred horses are descendants of 3 stallions: the Birley Turk, the Darley Arabian, and the Godolphin Arabian. In the early stages of horse breeding, the so-called inbreeding is used. It is a closely related crossbreeding. The horse Matcham foaled in 1748 was the grandson of the Godolphin Arabian. The descendant of Birley Turk was born in 1758, and a Darley Arabian horse's descendant was born in 1764.
Бұл енді таза қанды жылқы, ол мынау ағылшынның таза қанды жылқысын айтады ғой, чистокровный дейді.
They say that the English horse is the most thoroughbred one, but this is a trick to save this very breed. They crossbreed related offspring. In science, this is called hybridization. In ancient times, the Scythians used this method. In general, the Kazakhs do not approve of such methods. In the herd, closely related crossbreeding is excluded. It is no coincidence that only humans and horses have this quality. As a result, the breed that you consider to be purely English is essentially a crossbred offspring from 3 different stallions. Well, let's continue. We will reveal the historical facts about the Turkmen Arqıl horses. There is much evidence that Arqıl is one of the oldest horse breeds in the world. Soviet scientists have proved that this horse breed originated from the Turkmen tribes which moved to the Caspian coast in the 1220s, 1240s. In particular, due to the crossbreeding of horses of Tekke and Yamud tribes. Then the general name of the breed, Tekke Yamud, appeared. Later, when the Turkmens moved to the Arqıl region, this horse breed was called Arqıl. This is how the purebred Arqıl horse was bred. Are the Russian horses, which are highly valued in our country for meat, milk, and are used as transport means, so purebred? There is a Russian Don bred of horses, or Donchuks. In the 15th, 19th centuries, the Cossacks bred local Russian horses on the Don River. They crossbred local horses with the ones brought from the military campaigns. Later, they began to cross them with other horses of the Orlov, Rostopchin, Strelets, and English breeds. The Orlov horse breed was bred in the 18th century at the Kranovsky stud farm on the territory of the modern Voronezh region. Count Alexei Orlov and breeder Shekin played a huge role in the formation of the Orlov horse breed. During crossbreeding and creating a new breed of horses, special attention was paid to the appearance, size of horses, and their performance. Thus, as a result of long hybridization, a completely new offspring was obtained.
Граф Орлов ол мыныс атты шығарған басында.
Count Orlov bred horses exclusively for riding. In those years, the Russians had only trotters, but it was uncomfortable to ride them. Pacers, that is, Kazakh horses, were necessary for a long journey.
Жүріс керек, жол жорғасы, жаңағы жортағы, сондай жүріс керек.
So, in different states, ordinary people developed their own pure breeds of horses. The Kazakh Karabaiyr is strong and hardy, naturally raised on the Kazakh vast steppes. We have already said that the history of horse domestication on the Kazakh land goes back 5,000 years. Scientists have found that the height of the withers of the horses found in the famous Botai mounds was 182 centimeters.
Американский ученый Дэвид Энтони из штата Хартвик.
American scientist David Anthony from the U.S. town of Hartwick came with his assistant, wife. During excavations, they examined the horse's teeth and found ones with abrasions caused by bits. These were the Botai horses. They were divided into 3 height categories. Tall horses were up to 160 centimeters. Perhaps sometimes they were even taller. There were also horses of average and low stature. Low horses were raised for food.
Средней рослости и низкой рослости. И вот лошадки низкой рослости, средней рослости, они шли на питание.
Will you believe me if I tell you that the above-mentioned English, Turkmen, and Russian horses have the first blood of the Karabaiyr horse, the Karabaiyr origin? Let's analyze each kind individually. The horse Darli Arabian was brought by Captain Darli in Damascus, which was a part of the Great Silk Road at that time. It is well known that the Great Silk Road linked Central Asia to Europe and the Middle East. At that time, the Arabs brought horses to Damascus from Bukhara, which was the center of trade and, by the way, sold Kazakh breeds of horses. Thus, the stallion Darli Arabian came from the land of Central Asia to England, over the Great Silk Road. The second stallion, Godolphin, was captured by the Turks during the war between England and Turkey. It is confirmed that the Turks bought horses from the Nogais. Let's return to the Kazakh land again. Horses of the Nogai people galloped through the great steppe of Kazakhstan to the Ottoman Empire through the Crimea, and also to the south, to Persia. This evidences that the blood of Kazakh Karabaiyr horses and part of their DNA have traces in the English horse breeds.
Аңғылшын жылқы ол бүкіл аңғылшын жылқылардың жаңағы тарихы 300 жыл ғана. 300 жыл ол әр қазақты алсаңыз ол.
The history of the English horse breed stretches back more than 300 years. For example, any Kazakh for 300 years can tell his genealogy, his 7 ancestors. Someone can even name ancestors up to 30 generations. Now, all of a sudden, we became interested in the English horses. We should be ashamed, because the history of the English horses is only 300 years. These horses originated from the Kazakh breed. At the same time, foreigners were interested in the Kazakh steppe horses as well as other Central Asian breeds of horses. But they did not even suspect that their horses were bred from our ones. After all, horses were brought to England from Arabia. All English thoroughbreds descended from 3 stallions.
Аңғылшын жылқының тұқымы 3 айғырдан таратады.
As for the Turkmen horses, we have already said that they were raised by the tribes that inhabited the Caspian coast. This was around 1220. Historical chronicles confirm that in the 13th, 14th centuries, the Turkmens moved from the eastern shores of the Caspian Sea to the Usturt Plateau and Mangyshlak Peninsula. At that time, all local bazaars sold local Adai horses, or as they're also called, Mangistau tulpars. We should pay attention to one important detail here. At that time, the Turkmens were either under the rule of the Seljuks or the Shaks of Khwarezm. The question arises how, without their own land, they managed to breed a thoroughbred. It's like having a Mercedes race car but not having a roof over your head. The Turkmen horse originated from the Adai horse. Akal-teke horses also appeared as a result of crossbreeding. A man like me has been breeding 10-15 horses for many years. Turkmens mainly focused on a horse's appearance, paid attention to its color. Thanks to this, hundreds of years later, the Akal-teke horse appeared as a result of crossbreeding. Don't think that they came out of nowhere. It is the same as with those decorative breed of dogs. Turkmens took care of their horses as well as their own children. They were happy if a neighbor had a mare or a good stallion, because they had only 1 horse per family, since the natural conditions did not allow them to have horses in herds. The Kazakh man, on the contrary, could have up to 1,000 stallions.
Түркменде бір баласы болса бір жылқы ұстайды. Ол осы біздің мінген жылқының мінесінен ақал-теке жылқы шықты.
The Turkmens bought horses only from the Adais. Presently, some say that the Adai breed originated from the Turkmen one, but this could not be true. Turkmens live in the desert. There is sand all around. There are no pastures. There is no food for the horses. We continue to walk through the pages of history and turn to Russian horses. There are many horse breeds in Russia, in particular such as Orlov, Budani, and Don. How did the Russians get the horses? Russian scientist Alexander Vilkins answered this question. We could have stopped here, but let's delve into history and see how the Kazakh horse ended up in Russia. Ivan Vasilievich III, known as Ivan the Great, lived from 1440 to 1505. In 1465-1505, he was the Grand Prince of Moscow, the son of Vasily II the Dark. Grand Ducal, Tsarist, and Imperial hunting in Russia from the 10th to the 16th centuries by Nikolai Kutyapov, 2006 edition. During the reign of Ivan III, a major military reform took place. Ivan III was an experienced politician and main ideologist of the state. At that time, horses in the Russian cavalry served rather for adornment. Everyone admired their thin goose neck, but it was quite difficult to fight on such horses. Realizing this, the prince decided that it was better not to fight with the Nogai neighbors, but to cooperate with them. Janburshi Khan's letters attracted Ivan III. This ultimately led to a mutual trade. At that moment, the Crimean Khans announced that it is them, not the Nogais, who were the heirs of the Golden Horde. This encouraged Janburshi Khan and Musa Khan to an alliance with Moscow. At the turn of the century, it was the entrepreneurial Nogais who were famous for selling horses suitable for military campaigns. They brought in 40 to 50,000 horses from the city of Sarayshik and began to sell them in Moscow markets. All Nogai horses were bought. People were attracted by the performance qualities of the Nogai horse. If the Russian horses with swan necks could be ridden as adornment for a holiday, then the Nogai horses were strong and hardy. Moscow princes gladly brought such horses at a high price. With the help of these very horses, Kazan and Astrakhan were soon conquered.
Жылқыларды ең алғаш рет бұлар алаштан алған. Біздің көне атауымыз алаш қой.
There is evidence that Tsarist Russia bought horses from the Alash. Our people were called Alash until the 15th century. After the 15th century, the word Kazakh appeared. The authors of the explanatory dictionaries of the Russian language, scientists Dal and Budagov, proved that the word horse comes from the word Alash-at. In those days, everyone knew Alash's horses. Russian princes bought stallions, Alash horses, from the Kipchuks. Russian scientists have recognized and proved this. In the 16th, 17th centuries, the Russians bought horses from the Nogais. Russian chronicles testify that the Nogai horses were cantering along the city streets. Now everyone already knows that the Kazakhs and the Nogais are really one people.
Ноғайлардан алынған. Москваның ана көшелерінде сол ноғай жылқылары көп болғанын жазады олар. Енді ноғай, қазақ деген ол енді бір ел ғой.
Иван Грозный кезінде қазақ жылқылары көп Ресейге кеткен. Өйткені Иван Грозный Қыпшақтың жиені.
During the time of Ivan the Terrible, a huge number of Kazakh horses arrived in Russia, for a good reason. After all, Ivan the Terrible is the nephew of the Kipchak. He bred horses, loved to ride, learned the art of hunting. In Russia, it was called the royal hunt, but in fact, it is the Kazakh hunt.
Сері жаңа дәстүр.
The Kazakh horse represents the power that turned the Moscow infantry into a modern and powerful cavalry. Without it, the Russians would not have been able to defeat the Muslims. One more interesting fact is that there were no trained, experienced horsemen in Moscow at that time. That is why the Russian Tsars sent special invitations to the Nogai nobles, brought them to Moscow, and gave them the highest salary. The Nogai cavalry was transferred from the Nogai horde and became part of the Russian cavalry. The Nogais had a major advantage. They were skilled in archery, fencing, and spear fighting. Since the constant transfer of troops from the banks of the ancient Volga was ineffective, the Nogais were brought to Moscow and provided with good conditions. This process proceeded rapidly, and during the war, the Russian troops quickly mastered the skills of archery and spear fighting. Thanks to Ivan III, the first state stud farm was opened in the village of Koroshevo. Of course, only Nogai horses were bred there.
Дон тұқымы ол орыс казактардан шығады. Бірақ орыс казактар тек қана ноғайлардан алады. Өйткені анау Дон өзенде сол жақта анау қасында негізінде анау ноғайдың жерлері ғой.
The Don breed was bred by the Russian Cossacks, but they bought horses only from the Nogais. They were very interested in the horse breed of Nogai neighbors. Some words in the Russian language prove it. How a whip is called in Russia? Yes, Nagaika. Everyone knows that the Nogais and the Kazakhs are united.
Ол ноғай халықтың несі? Ноғай бәрі білеміз. Қазақ ноғай бір екен.
Large amount of the Kazakh horses were sold throughout the region. There is one more example. The rulers of India, despite the long distances, brought horses in their country from Dashti Kipchak steppe. Despite high cost, a total of 100,000 horses were sold to India. There is a lot of information about such transactions. If you remember, one of these moments is showcased in Qazaq film.
Треспиля. Ayday ver. Trespiля. Ey Frankeri kanca tavın. Uç dümen. Eyle olsun.
Қазақтың өзі ежелден мынау әлемдік базарға шығарған нәрсесі мал ғой, төрт түлік мал, одан кейін әсіресе жылқы. Сондықтан ол бұқарды қойып, бүкіл мына Қытайдың базарларында, орыстың базарлары, орыстар мынау біздің шекарамызда көптеген.
Since ancient times, the Kazakhs have traded cattle, especially horses. We supplied them to Bukhara, to Russian and Chinese markets. The Russians opened stores on our borders. Orenburg and Omsk were overcrowded. The horse trade flourished everywhere.
Одан кейін мына жақтағы жаңағы анау Құлжа, осы қалалардың бәрін базарларында не сатылды? Қазақтың жылқысы сатылды. Сосын Қытайдың жібегіне қазақ мұқтаж болды. Ал енді мына жақта орыстың жаңағы мануфактура бұйымдары соған қазақ мұқтаж болды да, сол не көп жылқы сатылды.
For example, the Chinese people in the vicinity of Urumqi, Chuguchak, and Kulja actively traded Chinese silk for Kazakh horses. According to this principle, the Kazakhs bought Russian textiles. Even now, herds of horses graze in the vast Kazakh steppes. The horse was the main trade brand of the Kazakhs in the markets of Central Asia, China, and Russia. All horses which we call purebred contain the blood and DNA of the Kazakh Karabaiyr horse. Basically, you only need to know two things to understand where the horse came from. The first is the presence of pastures, and the second is clothing. Let's think logically. There are no pastures in Europe. The Turkmens live on the sand, as do the Arabs. There are huge pastures in our country between Altai and Atirau, Sari Arka and Alatau. In Mangostan region, in Kumdawit steppe, there is a much-needed winter pasture. The Kazakhs sewed own clothes and shoes from animal skins. In 2014, the news shocked the world. Ancient trousers of the nomads were found in the territories of Asia. Archaeologists have found trousers before, but this time, as it turned out, they were the oldest ones in the world. They were sewn over 3,000 years ago. Highly experienced German archaeologist Mike Wagner discovered this during the study.
Қазір жаңағы әлем қателесіп жүр, өйткені араб жылқысы таза қан деп саналады. Араб жылқысы ол Арабияға, мысалы, жылқыларды біз поставка жасағанбыз.
There is a wrong point of view. According to many people, the most thoroughbred horse is the Arabian horse. But it was mainly we who delivered horses to the Arabs. We had close ties with Bukhara. Moreover, the Arabs bought not only horses from us.
Сол кезде мысалы ол Арабияда жылқы ұстау өте қымбат нәрсе. Жылқыны баптауға өте қымбат, өйткені егін жоқ, жайылым жоқ, шөп жоқ. Ол бәрі әкеліп жүрген, сыртан әкеліп жүрген, бұрыннан сыртан әкеліп жүрген заттар.
Their land and roads were unsuitable for keeping livestock and horses. Since there was no livestock feed of their own, the Arabs bought it abroad. Even today, none of them can keep 5 mares at once. But in the Kazakh village, each family has up to 5 mares, because there are pastures in our land.
Мысалы, ең мықты атбегілер 5 бие ұстап жүреді. Ол керемет олар үшін. Мысалы, біз үшін әр ауылды алсаңыз, қарапайым кісілер 5 бие ұстап жүреді ғой. Өйткені жайылым бар.
Let's analyze the very name of the Kazakh horse breed, Karabaiyr. It can be translated as simple or laborer. What are the advantages and features of the Karabaiyr horses compared to other horse breeds? The word Karabaiyr can be translated from Kazakh as the simplest. Kazakh Karabayrs have a distinctive appearance, wide neck and large elongated head, high withers, straight back, long croup with a high-set tail. The Karabayrs are easy to train. Colors, gray and dark brown. Often bay, less often red, even more rarely black. The Karabayrs, of course, are not the fastest horses, but they are very hardy. They can pass a distance of 300 kilometers per day, or they can pass 100 kilometers in 4 hours without rest. The mare gives 10 to 15 liters of milk per day. A herd of 100 mares yields from 85 to 95 foals. Now the Karabayrs are common in the central part and in the south of Kazakhstan, but most of them are raised in Almaty region.
Қарабайыр жылқы сұлу биігі жылқылар. Тек қана жаңа қазаққа кірген тайпаларда болған.
The Karabaiyr horse is the tallest and most beautiful among other horses. They are found only among Kazakh tribes such as the Naimans, Adais, Kipchaks, Konerots, and Dulats. In the junior, middle, and senior Juzes, these horses were bred massively. We consider Karabayrs purebred because they are the most ancient breed of horses. For the Kazakhs, this is an ordinary horse. For the rest of the world, this is a real stallion, a tall and noble horse. In ancient times, the descendants of the Karabayrs, along with the Huns of Attila and the Kipchaks, spread throughout Europe, India, Arabia, and Egypt.
Көп жерлерге жаңағы Үндістанға, Арабияға, Мысырға, сол жаққа өтеді сол жылқылар.
A thoroughbred horse Karabaiyr will never leave you alone on the way, will not leave you without wings. Kazakh saying. When people see the English purebred horses or the Turkmen akal-teke horses, they are ready to feed them by hand. But in terms of their performance qualities, they are less effective than the Karabayrs with their character, patience, and endurance. 90% of horses appeared as a result of numerous crossings and selection works. Factory breeds are dependent on humans and are not adapted to the steppe life. They do not know how to get food on their own. Kazakh horses have never been hand-fed. In winter, they got food from under the snow, and in summer, they grazed in the steppe. That is why it is so important to protect them. As you remember in the previous program, Daniel Dauke said, "Now we're all passionate about English and other European breeds of horse. We ride them, breed them. Have we ceased to honor our native Karabayrs? Why? Our contemporaries are well aware of the Turkmen and Arab horses, but do they know anything about the Karabayr horses? What breeds of horses do you know? I know there are Kazakh Kazanat, Jabbe breeds, and the Turkmen akal-teke breed. What do you know about the Kazakh Karabaiyr horse? I heard about them but did not see them in life. The akal-teke and Arabian breeds. What do you know about the Kazakh Karabayrs? I heard about them. The akal-teke breed and other breeds. Do you know anything about the Kazakh Karabayrs? Karabaiyr? Is this a Kazakh horse? No, I have not heard about them. What breeds of horses do you know? I don't know any. Do you know anything about the Kazakh Karabayrs? No. To be honest, I don't know any breeds. I grew up in the city. The akal-teke breed, English and Arabian breeds. This is how the society thinks. What do you know about the Kazakh Karabaiyr horse? Our today's program is coming to an end. In the beginning of the program, I said that the blood of Kazakh Karabaiyrs flows in the veins of thoroughbreds. This is what I tried to prove for 30 minutes based on historical facts. Let's value and cherish the great heritage of our ancestors and ride a horse more often. I am Akjol Taukan. Watch us on Qazakh TV's YouTube channel. Subscribe and don't forget to comment.